Welcome to the Accounting Technology Fireside Chat podcast. Now, sit back and enjoy while Nick and Trevor help you use your technology to make money and delight your clients.
Well, hello and welcome to the Accounting Technology Fireside Chat podcast and live stream and video and everything, and we're still in lockdown. Good morning, Trevor.
Good morning, Nick. We haven't even had it. It's become so normal. We haven't even talked about it. How's that, huh?
Yeah,
it's just the norm.
You still in lockdown in Victoria?
Oh, we still are. You know, I think I'm about 100 k's from the first. You know, the only case, but you know, we're part of Greater Melbourne, Victoria.
Wow, wouldn't that be nice? I'm right down the road from one, but if I have a holiday home somewhere, I can still travel to it.
No, we're not allowed to even do that. I don't understand your lockdowns. Clayton's lockdowns, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, we're not going to talk about that today because I got all wrapped up in the news yesterday, and I'm gonna move past it because
I did too a bit.
Yeah, you get that sometimes. I think it's really important to just avoid it. And of course, at the end of the day, my laptop died as well, just to add insult to injury. So, what a rubbish day. Anyway,
is that Windows 11? We were going to talk about Windows 11 too. But,
it's not Windows 11. Windows 11 is fine. I took my laptop, I unplugged it from USB and power to go upstairs and do the census, and I got upstairs and the thing just wouldn't start. It showed a Windows logo and then failed, and I contacted Microsoft support and they said, yeah, send it to us. We'll give you a new one for free, which is amazing support. But you know, I'm doing a webinar this afternoon about SpaceX with all sorts of exciting guests and stuff without a laptop. But I resurrected my old Surface Laptop 2, and we're running on that today.
Surface 2?
Surface Laptop 2.
Oh, laptop.
That's a bit newer, yes. Not the Surface 2.
I don't even know what you're using at the moment. What's the one that broke down? What were you using?
So I had a Surface Book for Business with big coprocessor, 32 gigs of RAM, terabyte of disk, all my source code, blah blah blah.
And what do they cost on approximate?
3.5 to 4, maybe up to
3.5 to 4. That's not bad. It is your tool.
Yes,
I do. I think I'm in the hunt for a new one. I'm still using my Surface 4, and it's doing fantastic. Haven't had any issues apart when I broke the screen and gave it back to Microsoft, and they gave me a new one. So their support's amazing.
Microsoft support is I've always been impressed with that. I'm really disappointed. I was really disappointed that the flagship store in Sydney was closing, so you couldn't just wander up. But apparently, it's still open for repairs, except not at the moment because we're in. Yeah.
So how are you sending it back?
They'll send a courier sends me a label, and I nip down the post office and pack it and put the label on it, and off it goes.
So it's not instant, but it's good enough in these days.
It's free, but it takes about 10-15 days for it all to happen. So, but it's all right. It's not the end of the world. We have another Surface Book coming today into the business, and so I'm going to snafu that one so I can get some work done. But...
Excellent.
Cool.
So,
well, do you want me to talk a little bit about Windows 11 and give you a
little bit? Yeah,
going on there.
We could do the whole session on it. We did have some other plans, but let's see how we go.
We did have some other plans. Let me just delete some stuff. What I might do is I might share my screen, and you can have a look at what's going on. This is a Windows 11 backdrop. Isn't that really not very exciting? So there's a bunch of new graphics and stuff if anybody's interested. But I think the biggest thing is if I go and get a copy of Notepad up, look at the corners.
Oh my god.
They're actually rounded, and notice my start menu is in the middle now.
Right.
So my start button's here, and I've got this panel here of widgets, which is going to choose not to come up today. But that shows you time and to do and all sorts of things all in one place. You've got a whole bunch of multiple desktops you can build to do all sorts of stuff. So you can have different desktops for different pieces of work you're doing. The start menu is very different. You've got your apps, you've got your recommended. That's in the main. There's a new store, and the new store's very, very interesting. And why it's very interesting is not in this build, but shortly you're going to be able to run Android apps on Windows.
Ah,
So any Android app
cool.
you can run on Windows, and already in it, any Linux application which has a graphical interface, you can run on Windows as well, using something called Windows Services for Linux. So your Windows box now runs Linux, it runs Android, it runs Windows, it runs web, it runs all sorts of stuff.
Oh,
So
that's really
it's
handy for something I've got going on.
oh cool. So it's
Yeah,
fairly
that's
exciting. The
good.
settings are all updated. They're kind of settings are very different now. So you've got your, this is just display, but if you're into that, there's all sorts of things. And there's two things I really like, and they're a bit techy, but I'll take you through them.
Yes, yeah.
First of all, for those of you who use the command line, the Windows terminal is baked in. So that's not just a command line, that allows me to run my command prompt, Azure Cloud Shell. If I've got Linux installed, it will allow me to run a Linux terminal. So all of those command line things now live in one application, which is kind of funky, and you can do stuff with that. And there's this new tool called Winget. And Winget allows you to install any application you want just from the command line. And why that's useful is, as you know, I rebuild my PC quite often. And I have a script in my dev folder, I'll show you, called Build Me. And Build Me, actually, this is all the commands to install every piece of software I use on my machine.
You're all Microsoft, I don't know, GitHub.
There's
But
Camtasia,
doesn't,
Audacity, Amazon Client.
oh yeah, because you just used to get a list. When you restore, you get a list of these the applications you're gonna have to reinstall.
Yeah. Yeah, so
But
we
you
wrote
just,
this script which actually goes and installs it all for you. So like you get a brand new machine, I run this script, and then everything's set up and working and as it should be. It's kind of funky and cool.
and this is, and the whole concept of that comes back to, the stuff that we talk about, having everything in the cloud. By having it in the cloud, it means that if something goes wrong with your laptop or your PC, you can just go grab another one, rebuild it, and you've got everything you want to go to, that you need.
And that's the useful thing. If you look at my desktop, there's some stuff on it. There's not a lot. I don't keep a lot on my desktop, but that's stuff that was there from my old machine. And that's there because of the beautiful wonderfulness of OneDrive.
Yep.
I've got my business OneDrive, I've got my work OneDrive, but you see that's got my desktop, it's got my documents, it's got everything sitting here just in the way I want it, which is super cool and funky.
And I know I can see you've got some Chrome browsers but you're using predominantly Edge, aren't you? Because
predominantly I use Chrome at the moment. So, and let me show you the world's biggest productivity trick in Chrome. You'll probably like this. So let me just create a new Chrome window. Now, I don't know about you, but I spend my life logging into multiple different accounts of all sorts of things. And the way to do that is to create Chrome profiles. So if you click up here on your person, you've actually got the ability to create profiles here. So here's some profiles that I use. And if I wanted to log into a new environment, I just click Add. That brings up this box. I don't have a Google account, so I'm going to say no, continue without an account. Choose a color for it, make it Trevor's work, and hit done. And that's now a totally new browser environment. So that allows me to talk to, for example, your Power BI or your OneDrive, if I have credentials to it. So I can work in different environments using these browser profiles rather than being stuck mucking around with incognito mode and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I use that a bit. I do it in Edge as well. I've got Max. I actually do it more in Edge with multiple profiles.
See, I think I have profiles in Edge as well. So I use, as you know, I use both browsers. So I'll just check over here on my other screen. And I've got two. I've got my Hub one and my Tribe Tech one sitting there.
Yeah, I'm working between three different businesses. Hub one, BizBox, and Ashford's BizTech. So
you need the three different profiles to be able to work effectively.
Yeah, and for those of you who have to jump in and out of different profiles especially for like Xero, those sort of things, it's really useful because you don't have to keep on logging in, and it keeps all your passwords relative to those accounts, and it works well. Yeah,
cool. What we're doing show and tell. I've got some other things to show you today.
I'm excited about this.
So we've been working on a real focus on how do we get from a conception of a product all the way through to building it and releasing it into the store. And we're in flight at the moment of getting a product into the store. But I thought I'd share with you the initial steps of how we build something and give you an idea of what it looks like when it ends up in the Microsoft Store. So we've been working on this scenario, and let me show you this. This is called the Mailroom. And I'll talk you around this app. What we have on the left is we have a bunch of filters. And this looks across all of the documents in, if you were running one practice in your document center. If you're not running one practice, this actually will, when you first run it, go and set up a bunch of stuff so this is able to work. So we're assuming you have a list of clients. And in our scenario, we have some metadata on those clients: partner, client name, client group, and tax year. And we can determine some actions. So, for example, if I said I want to find everything that requires email, I click filter on action, I choose email, and that gives me only the documents that I've set that require to be emailed. So, for example, if Trevor comes in and he's the partner, he can filter by himself, right? And that will give all the documents where Trevor's the partner where there's an action that needs to be done. So you can instantly see I've got 2 documents I need to go and process, right? Okay, so you can do a bunch of things with these documents. There's a little preview here. If you click on that, that opens the document. If you click here, that opens where the document is in SharePoint. And if you click here, that just opens the client folder. You can see stuff like the client group, tax year, partner, and name. In the version we're releasing, you're actually able to click on those and edit them, which is kind of cool. It gives you some real dynamic stuff. And if Trevor said, well, I now want to file that, he clicks the file button. And that instantly makes it disappear off his screen because it's filtering only on things that should be emailed. So he can go through and he can decide, okay, client needs some, that's all done now, we can put that in the bin, right? He marks that as bin, and now he's got no more documents to do. Comes back tomorrow, runs it, and it's looking at his configuration. What do you reckon?
Well, I love it. It started from a little project I was trying to work on with one of our clients. So we had I can name them. So they're Regan Partners. They're based in Queensland, and the solution we were looking for was because they've got 7 offices throughout far north Queensland. And what would happen is one of the partners would head off on the road, and he'd come back to a filing tray full of documents after a week or so that hadn't had anything done with them. So the old scenario, they came in. Mail came in, they grabbed them, put them into his in tray, and he hadn't actioned them. And I said, well, why aren't you using one practice scans to scan them into the system and then do something with them? And they went, oh, it's too hard. We don't know where they are once they've been scanned, and we can't do this and we can't do that. So we built, and my first thing was using a view was a terrible, didn't look anything like that, but the concept was create views to see what was in your mailroom. So we created a metadata field that was mailroom, and then we could see what was in there and things that we had to do with it. But again, it was a little bit clunky and a bit hard for everybody to work with. So the guys at Tribe Tech or Dev, I don't know what you
Tribe Tech now. Yeah.
Tribe Tech. Okay. The guys at Tribe Tech grabbed it and made it beautiful, and solved that for the client. So that was it's a great situation of they've evolved, they've used one practice, they've started to understand SharePoint, and they had a problem, and then we solved the problem. So it was, what's your problem? The problem for them was people were out on the road all the time, and they were putting the paper documents into a file, a tray on their desk. They were coming back, and 7 days later, they've got, things that they had to action within days, and weren't getting action straight away. So this is a workflow, realistically, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah, it is. Really cool. And what we're doing now, and I'll show you where we are, and my voice goes not what it should be, so it's probably going to fail. But we're actually turning this into a web application, so I can show you a really early version now. Here it is. So this is a web version. There's actually some more work on it, so I'll go and look at that in a little bit. But that actually means you'll be able to go to mailroom.tribe.com tribetech.com.au. Log in with your Office 365 account and instantly be able to do that straight on the web. So we're going through the process of getting that certified for Office 365 at the moment and tidying it up and getting it in the store so we know that whole process. So that will be quite exciting. That's coming out soon. And the exciting thing about that is it's great if you've got one practice and scans and those sorts of things, but it's actually going to work even if you don't. So
Even
it's
if you don't, yeah.
a document management solution for everyone, really.
And it all comes back to the original DNA. When we sat down in 2010, 2011, and we talked about what we were developing for accountants in terms of technology, and one was to solve the document management solution, and we made a conscious decision to make sure that all of our applications worked in a native environment in SharePoint.
Yep.
So therefore, people, as they grabbed the application, as they evolved, they started to then work in SharePoint. They then could say, well, I want to solve problems in my business. Those that had the drive and had the knowledge, or they had a problem, we were able to solve those problems because we weren't locked into functionality that we created within SharePoint, which is what a few of the other applications have done.
The ability to know everything's actually it's in SharePoint, it's customers' documents. If they want to extend it, they can. We're extending, we're not doing funky stuff here. We're actually using something called Microsoft Graph, which is the API into Office 365 to do all these things. So lots of opportunities to do neat stuff there. It's actually really cool.
Yeah, it's great. I'm impressed.
Thank you.
Very impressed. Yeah, it was good to see it evolve and you guys attack something a completely different way. That's really
absolutely,
good.
and that's the goal, right? Is to attack things in different ways as much as we can.
Well, we've been doing that a little bit down at Ashford's BizTech as well. So for those of you who know, Ashford's is an accounting firm. They use Xero Practice Manager, great big accounting firm, and we were using Xero Practice Manager to manage our workflow and our accounts. On the 1st of July, we made a decision to step away from that and start to use Xero Projects because we're not actually an accounting firm. We just need to manage the project. So we stepped away from a bit. So we use Teams for our workflow and our plans, and we do those sort of things. So we manage all our tasks within Teams, and we've got automation built in through Power Automate for emails that come into our support emails automatically go into a task within Teams, and we can create those things and we can work within them. But we needed somewhere to capture our time, do our billing and quoting and processing. So we started to use Xero Projects. But Xero Projects, it's got a lot of functionality, but it lacked a bit of reporting. So our guys got in and started to develop Power BI app based on Xero Projects. So I might share my screen.
Go for it.
And
now you need to work out how to do that. There, you're going to get stuck working out how to share your screen. See, I was smart. I shared mine before we even went live, which is always good. Now you've got to find the share button, find your screen. It's like doing one of those Teams meetings all over again. How you going?
Oh, no, I'm all right. I'm all right. I've got it. I think I've got it. So I can turn that on. See you can see it?
Yep, absolutely.
Was I successful? Okay. So this is effectively Xero Projects and a few other things we've put in together to come up with some solutions. So we've got a project dashboard, a WIP dashboard. The WIP is brutal. It's effectively Xero Practice Manager before they started managing WIP. So it's really just, how much time's gone in and what have you built and what's left over and what are you doing with the rest. So if we complete a project, it just gets rid of the WIP. We're not managing WIP. We just want to see a bit of an idea of what is in it. And our guys have gone in and created some pretty cool graphs. I won't go sit on it too much, but there's some pretty cool things, bits and pieces that we've done in there. So I can manage our projects and our workflow within the business. We can see our invoicing, what's been invoiced, what needs to be invoiced. We've got a financial flow. So how much work we got come in, how much time have we put to it, what do we have to invoice, what's happening with the flow of that. Project time report, so how many hours are you putting into all the different areas and who's putting what hours into what. And we've got lots of filters that we can work within there. I can click on a particular person, just see their workflows and what time they're doing and analyze their work really easily in a graphic format. We're looking at internal time. How much time are we spending on internal stuff? And with the goal to get that down. Staff training's up. We've just put on a new trainee tech in our business. So I can see, okay, well, I know that all makes sense. Where are we going and how can we minimize that? We've got our productivity report. How's everybody going with their productivity? Not looking too good. Austin's going okay. A couple of my timesheets haven't come through. So
yeah, or you haven't come through, like you haven't filled them in.
Shush, yeah. But we have a bit of fun,
doesn't it?
We have a bit of fun. We've got to generate it. So Austin, I call Moaning Myrtle. They call me the old guy who's trying to pretend he's young.
Yep.
Carolina, we say that we don't know who we get every day, so we call her one of the 7 dwarfs. So sometimes we've got Grumpy, sometimes we've got Sleepy, sometimes we've got Doc. And we've got our new guy, Solomon, and I don't know what they've marked on for him yet, but he's bringing that through. So, and then we've got things like timesheets done. Have you done your timesheets? So, up until sad times. Sad times. We haven't done our timesheets so far this week, so people haven't been doing their timesheets, so that we can jump onto that and look at it in real time. And as I explained to the guys, it's really important that we do keep our timesheets up to date, because what we saw instantly when we were doing that was we saw productivity grow, because you're capturing your time and you're working on what you're working. We can go into deep tar. We've got our pipeline. Now, our pipeline's brutal. This is just an Excel spreadsheet sitting in the background. And from that list, and we're going to do more with it, but we're just doing it at a brutal point. We're just sort of building it as we go, and we're sort of coming up with ideas on how we can capture that pipeline. And then we're just building some graphs. Where are we getting our referrals from? Where are we getting, what sort of work are we getting? Most of it's in systems review. We're getting a bit of Power BI dashboards and building our little business on that. For me, I'm really seeing this is the beauty of where we've talked about Power BI, and for me now to grab my little business and really see what's going on with it.
Sure.
So me sharing that with the other partners of Ashford, they all want one now. So it's before they didn't understand why they wanted one. Now they can see it. They go, I want one. So
of course.
we're going to be building that through from there. So that's a bit of show and tell from us.
That's very cool, Trev. That's very cool. No, that's interesting. Well, I think that's a couple of things, and I think that takes us up to our time on the Accounting Technology Fireside chat today. But there's a couple of interesting things, and hopefully, as we pick up pace on building some of these, we're going to have something to show every couple of weeks, which will be, I think, fantastic.
Show and tell. Is it? Well, it's a second Wednesday of every month. Maybe that should be our thing. Show and tell.
Yeah, there we go. And I've just
production on the fly.
Yeah, looking at the Mailroom app, I've just realised the 2 days worth of work I lost when my laptop failed because I hadn't checked it in because I was waiting to finish one more thing before I checked in my code.
Oh, no.
Oh,
well, at least you'll remember how to build it. You guys, you don't forget your code.
No, it's all good. Sometimes rebuilding it, you get a better result anyway, so it's all lovely. Alrighty, well, thank you for that, Trev. Really appreciate it. And, if you are watching, please leave a like, leave a comment if you'd like us to discuss something. Make sure you subscribe. If you see this on Facebook or YouTube, or you're listening to our podcast, make sure you subscribe and catch up with us. And from me, it's thanks for watching or listening. Have a great day.
Yep, see you later.